In the previous guide, I covered how to add fake reflective oil spills to the game. In this video, I'll show how to add fake reflective rain puddles. This could be useful for something like a cutscene or job area. If you want this effect all around the map, try creating a shader instead. There are a few notes to make before starting with this guide. The first issue is that we cannot use light flag when working with Vertex Alpha, and so this method is not very flexible if working in city areas, because city models often use light flag. The second issue is, this method is best suited to custom maps, which utilize a custom skybox, because it is not possible to create an accurate sky reflection due to the game sky and weather having dozens of variations. The third issue is this method, unlike a closed interior reflection, requires a small chunk of the map for the reflection to look realistic enough. If you're on version 2021 or above, for GTA materials to work, set to max legacy and restart 3ds Max. For this, I will use low ElevenLabs models, which is also known as low level of detail. Before I begin, you will need to set up a 3ds Max project scene containing all DFF models from GTA 3, IMG, and GTA int.img, which must be imported with the Heroes plugin. I am assuming you already have extracted DFF models from those two IMG archives into their respective folders. Use the batch loader script from ScriptSpot and begin loading in all DFF files into your project. When loaded, simply save the project and name it something descriptive. If this is your first time importing IPL files, please check the video description for how to fix the IPL import script. Import the IPL map that has the junkyard. The country SIPL has mostly only LOD models. Pick out the models you want to use for reflection and delete the rest. This location has water right next to it, which may result in some graphical issues. If you choose a place away from water, you should be fine. Deleting the models can take a while, and this is due to the map importer creating selection sets for each. The normal variants are stored in the IPL located in GTA 3, IMG. Delete all models that we already have low detail variants of. This includes the vehicles, because they are between 1 to 4,000 polygons each. Before we can perform any mesh operations, we need to load in models that were imported with the Heroes plugin, as it handles meshes better than cams. Start preparing the scene to be mirrored. Because we only want to reflect meshes above the ground, we need to remove all polygons that are seen below the ground. Mirror the models. For now, set the mirror modifiers to create the mirrored geometry as clone, as then we can see how the reflection behaves. Before exporting, turn off cloning. Create a copy of the ground dirt surface and subdivide it for more detailed puddles. I will only use the dirt surface for puddles because the other surfaces has poor UVs when subdivided. Before painting the puddles with Vertex Alpha, it will help to set up a shader to preview the reflection in viewport. We can utilize a skylight for flat shading because the viewport flat mode conflicts with outshader. Begin painting your Vertex Alpha masks for the puddle effect. Because this ground doesn't use flag 64, we can only paint Vertex Alpha values down to 35%. In order for the rain puddles to look good, we don't need that much transparency though. In the video I am showing brightness values of around 100, but these won't work in 3 Deciskins Max 2024 and later. The reason is that in 2024 and later, the color selector has changed. Because we know the alpha can only be down to 40%, the true value needs to be 0.4 for 40%, or if we want it to be 80% opacity, then it should be 0.8. In older versions of 3ds Max, a value of 102 would be equal to 40%. Paint individual vertices by just clicking once with the brush. If you would like a more subtle brush, you could use the other interpolated modes. Notice the reflections are very strong. This is because at the time of recording this video, it was using the old values, which in 2024 is equal to 15% opacity instead of the intended 40% opacity. The higher the percentage, the less reflective the ground will be. Make sure that you correct this yourself when following this guide. Select all objects and trim off some of the sides to reduce the scale of the object. Collision vertices cannot be further than 256 meters away from the pivot point. Merge all objects to one. Set the floor material to be the last ID, as transparencies needs to be drawn last. Export to DFF. Create a collision for the model. As we haven't modified anything that requires custom collisions, we can just use the original collision from the game and create custom boundings for the mirrored geometry. This way, we were able to generate custom boundings for the object, as in order to prevent camera clipping, we need the mirrored geometry to be included in collision boundings. Create your TXD. This task is rather complicated because there is no easy way of simply merging a set of existing TXD files. Change the DFF file name to reflection.dff. Create an IPL file with one line. Start map IO. Configure the DFF path to the place you saved the DFF file. Set texture to cust and RW text. Watch the portion of Guide ID 85 that shows how to extract textures as RW text and setting up a project path to those textures. Load the IPL file. Chances are it won't load the model, so just close map.io and try again. Save the 3ds Max project file in your project folder. I will save it in this Guide Zone folder. Collect scene bitmaps and output to the folder. Finally, create the TXD. The files can now be loaded into the game. For the transparencies to render in-game, we need to enable alpha transparency flag for the interior model.